On a day when my husband, who usually remains in his room, had stepped out briefly, the intercom at my house began buzzing incessantly. I answered the door to find my mother-in-law standing there, visibly excited. Surprised by the unexpected visit, I asked, "Hello, mother-in-law. What brings you here at this hour?" "First of all, you should answer the intercom promptly. Making me wait is quite impolite, don't you think?" "I apologize. I was caught up with some work." "Work? It's hard to believe you're doing anything substantial from home. I suspect you're just lounging around, aren't you?" "That's not the case at all. I am genuinely busy with my work." "I don't want to hear any excuses. You live a comfortable life here every day, benefiting from my son's high salary, and I find it unfair. My son and I plan to start a new chapter here, just the two of us. Please make arrangements to move out." With a self-satisfied grin, she pulled a piece of paper from an envelope and handed it to me. "Here, take a look," she said. The document was marked Divorce Papers, with my husband's section already completed. "Wait, are these divorce papers?" I asked, astonished. "Yes. He's come to realize he can't continue with you. So sign these and vacate the premises immediately." She looked triumphant, clearly anticipating my shock. But I wasn't as rattled as she expected. With a calm smile, I signed the papers. Internally, I found her misunderstanding amusing. She had no idea what was really going on. "My name is Nancy. I work from home as a freelance writer and editor, drawing on my past experience with a publishing company to sustain a steady income. During my time at the publishing company, late nights and weekend work were common, but the pay was excellent. Thanks to my salary, bonuses, and copyright-related rewards, I was able to save a significant amount. Despite the inherent instability of freelancing, I've been able to live comfortably. I met my husband, Dylan, while we were both employed at the publishing company. He was an aspiring writer with a passion that resonated with me, and my support for his dreams gradually blossomed into love. Our shared career ambitions made our early married life fulfilling. After we married, I transitioned for freelancing full-time, working from home. I had believed that my husband and his family understood and valued my career and income. However, over time, it became clear that they struggled to appreciate the nature of my work. My in-laws, holding more traditional values, found it difficult to grasp the concept of working from home and viewed freelancing as unstable compared to Dylan's steady employment, leading them to undervalue my contributions. Dylan began bragging to his parents about his success as a renowned writer, which only intensified my in-laws' cold attitude towards me. Whenever we met, their sarcasm was evident. They'd remark, "Oh, it's Nancy, who never seems to work. What brings you here today? Looking for a job recommendation?" "Mother-in-law, if you're worried about our living expenses, I assure you I'm earning well, so there's no need for concern," I replied. "Really? You sound quite assured. Perhaps you should show more gratitude to Dylan. Without him, wouldn't you be in a tight spot?" My mother-in-law's traditional values shaped her perspective. In her era, women typically managed the household while men worked outside. Consequently, seeing me work from home, she likely assumed I was neglecting domestic duties. This situation highlighted the generational and cultural misunderstandings and challenges within our family. Mother-in-law, freelancing allows one to earn a good income without needing to go to an office. Thanks to technological advancements, we can work from virtually anywhere, and my job fits that model. However, my mother-in-law reacted with irritation, saying, "All you do is talk back. You're such an unpleasant daughter-in-law. It doesn't look right for a young woman to be spending all day at home on a computer." Lately, these exchanges had become increasingly frequent, and I was growing weary of them. I bit back my response, thinking, not this topic again. Internally, I knew I was the primary breadwinner and managed most of the housework, but I kept that to myself. Initially, her complaints were only voiced when Dylan wasn't around, but recently she had started expressing them more openly, especially during family dinners at her home. These gatherings felt more like critique sessions than family meals. Even though I was invited, there was always only food for Dylan, with no place set for me, which made the situation uncomfortable. Additionally, I suspected she was speaking ill of me to other relatives, as I caught unpleasant whispered comments. I was often caught off guard by her and my father-in-law's attitudes, and Dylan's silence only added to my frustration. Moreover, they saw Dylan as a successful author and frequently relied on him for financial support, often asking him to purchase things. This support was funded by my earnings, which started as a small amount but had recently escalated to nearly $2,000 a month for his parents. I decided to confront Dylan about his use of my earnings. "I want you to stop giving my money to your parents without asking me first," I said. His response was colder than I anticipated. "You're making money while relaxing at home, right? It's easy money. Why not let my parents benefit from it?" "Wait, Dylan, do you really think I'm just lounging around at home to earn my money?" I was taken aback by his words. It felt like the final straw. I felt betrayed, confused, and heartbroken. Despite the challenges with his parents and our differing backgrounds, I had believed Dylan was on my side, which gave me the strength to endure. His words shattered that reassurance. Dylan, whom I thought understood my efforts and feelings, had joined those who mocked me behind my back. I remembered our first date when he spoke passionately about his work, his dreams, and his values. His enthusiasm and sincerity had drawn me to him. But lately he seemed to have lost that drive, spending his days aimlessly, often absorbed in games. This new side of him was a stark contrast to the person I had fallen for. Games aren't inherently bad, but his obsession with them had led him to neglect his passion for writing, which both saddened and injured me. I began to question whether I could continue my future with Dylan. The more I thought about it, the more bleak my future with him appeared. Consequently, I decided to divorce him and secretly began searching for a new place to live. I looked online for apartments suited for singles and visited several properties, prioritizing those with a quiet environment and strong security. Eventually, I chose a place that met my needs. One day, while Dylan was out, he usually spent his time playing games in his room. My mother-in-law paid an unexpected visit. I answered the door in surprise, and without waiting for an invitation, she plopped down on the living room sofa and declared, "Nancy, you need to leave this place." "Why are you saying this all of a sudden?" I was too stunned to react immediately. "It's quite clear. You're not good at housekeeping, and despite Dylan's success as a popular author, you haven't improved. Most importantly, you're failing at your work. I've explained this to you before. It's a misunderstanding." I tried to clarify, but my mother-in-law cut me off with a placid smile. "I intend to move in here and support Dylan. Taking care of him will be far better than dealing with that troublesome old lady." "Are you referring to Dylan's grandmother?" "Yes, that's the one. Even though I've done so much for her, she's always finding fault and showing no gratitude. I'm fed up with it. If I move in, I can look after Dylan, allowing him to focus on his work without any interruptions. Isn't that great?" With that, she pulled a piece of paper from the envelope she was holding. "So, would you please leave this house immediately?" I accepted the divorce papers she offered. They were already signed by Dylan. "Did Dylan actually sign these?" I asked, disbelief in my voice. "Yes," she said, a hint of amusement in her tone. "I suggested to Dylan that a divorce might be best for both of you. It seems he was quite eager to agree, as he signed them without a second thought." The events unfolded rapidly. I gathered my pre-packed bags and decided to move into a new apartment immediately. As I relocated, I also filed the divorce papers, marking the beginning of a new chapter. My new life turned out to be smoother and more comfortable than I had anticipated. My modest apartment, furnished only with the essentials, provided a simplicity that helped me concentrate. Free from complications, each day was calm and serene. I woke up to natural light streaming through the windows and the soothing sound of birds chirping in the distance. I could rise whenever I chose, enjoy a leisurely breakfast, and plan my day at my own pace. Immersed in my work, time seemed to fly by. It was a relief not to worry about the expectations and scrutiny of Dylan and my in-laws, allowing me to work in peace and at my own rhythm. One day, as I was deeply focused on my work at my desk, my smartphone buzzed with a call from Dylan. After a moment of hesitation, I decided to answer. "Nancy, please come back right now." Dylan's voice was urgent and desperate. "Why the sudden request?" I asked, puzzled. To be honest, my parents discovered I wasn't as successful as I claimed to be. I'm under a lot of pressure now. They're even talking about moving in and relying on my earnings. I really need you to come back. I understand, but returning isn't so straightforward. You signed the divorce papers, remember? Yes, and so did I. We've both chosen separate paths now, so you'll need to handle your own problems. It's no longer my concern. His voice was tinged with a mix of desperation and sorrow, but I remained firm. We've gone our separate ways. I could hear him sigh heavily on the other end. I get it, but since the divorce, I've faced many difficulties and significant expenses. I need help with costs like care fees for our parents and compensations for the disruptions caused. Why are you bringing this up now? I asked, confused. Your decisions have messed up all my plans. How could you? Do you remember how you and your parents used to mock me when we were married? I didn't want to say this, but now you seem like an adversary. Your financial troubles are due to your own failures at work. Figure it out on your own. I'm tired of being your fallback. With that, I ended the call. Despite numerous attempts to reach me afterward, I blocked Dylan and changed my number. A few months later, I happened to pass by the location of his former house. Instead of the house, there was now an empty lot. A nearby resident filled me in on the recent turmoil, mentioning that the police had been called several times. The neighbor's words seemed to carry the weight of the situation. You must have had a tough time too. There must have been a lot of upheaval leading to the loss of his house. I stood there for a moment, reflecting on the past. The outcome seemed like a form of karma. Dylan's small deception had led to a consequence more dramatic than any fiction he might have written. From that point on, I resolved to live with honesty, sharing my feelings and thoughts openly without pretense. No matter how difficult things became, I understood the importance of truth and value.